Good evening, class. Welcome to my class on the Unacademy live platform. My name is Arifa Zahir, and today we are going to talk about the body of an essay. So let's begin the class. Let's have a look and see who are there in the class and if all of you can hear me clearly. So, hi Vishnu, hi Raki, hi Rithro, hi Moinak, Sanjana, Vaskar, Avishek. Now, these are the students that I can see for now. So, I hope all of you can hear me clearly, students. Give me a quick yes if the sound quality is fine. Hello? I repeat. I repeat. Absolutely fine. I've checked it and it looks all right to me. Okay, class, let's begin now. Okay, so we've got COC and Free Fire Gamer. Quite an interesting name. Come on, class, let's begin without further ado. Now, before we begin, very important to share with all of you that we are coming up with the mock test series, which are going to start from which are going to start from tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. So more about that in some time. And today I'm your educator, and today I'm going to tell you about how to write the body of an essay. So, what are the different stages that we need to look into when writing the body of an essay? My referral code is BE Trainers. So, if you subscribe with this code on the Unacademy platform, you will be getting a 10% off. My Telegram and Instagram handle are the same, IELTS with Arifa. So if you'd like to connect, find out about where you stand and what are the areas that you need to work on. So that's the place where you're going to find me. So don't hesitate, connect with me on Telegram at IELTS with Arifa. Now let's move ahead. The other course that is immediately coming up and has already begun is the IELTS Power Pack Beginner to Advanced Batch course. Now, this is a 3-month course. It begins with, the beginner's level, which is the month of June, then moves up to the intermediate level, the month of July, and then hits the advanced level in the month of August. Now, please note that I will be taking the reading module here, and my reading module is going to start from 22nd of June and will be ending on the 27th of June, and I will be teaching these at 8:30 p.m. I repeat, at 8:30 p.m. Now let's move ahead. The other test series that I was talking about is the mock test series, which is starting tomorrow, 10 June, again at 8:30 p.m. Somehow 8:30 is my slot. We will be conducting a listening mock test, a reading, writing a mock test, and a doubt class. So, what does a listening, reading, writing mock test mean? It clearly means one thing, that you are going to give an examination and you're going to be assessed on that, and you're going to get marks from me and also feedback on the areas that you would need to improve to get a higher band score. So, I will be meeting you tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. if you are interested in improving your band score. Now let's move ahead. Clearly, you can attend these classes only if you have a subscription. Unacademy provides 5 different types of subscriptions. Each of these subscriptions already have a certain discount given. If you would like a further 10% off, then you can use my referral code BE Trainers, which I mentioned in the past in the earlier slides, and go ahead and get a further 10% off. Now, a little bit more about myself. I'm Arifa Zahir, the founder of British English Trainers. I'm a Plus educator on the Unacademy platform. My educational background includes Masters in English Literature and CELTA from Cambridge University. I have an overall experience of more than a decade in both teaching and training IELTS students, and also conducting the IELTS exam. I began my career as an IELTS administrator. And at BET, which is my institute, we provide training for IELTS, TOEFL, PTE, General and Communicative English, and also provide assistance in writing the statement of purpose. Now that's it about me, and let's jump into writing the body of an essay. Now, most IELTS Task 2 essays follow the same basic 4-paragraph structure. And now the students who follow the problem solution essays properly would know that in the case of problem solution essay, the strategy is a little different. We've got A, B, and C. To know further, attend my classes, you'll get a better idea. But for others who are not aware of it, this is the basic structure that we follow in terms of the IELTS essay. So intro, body 1, body 2, and conclusion. So we call it body 1 and body 2. Now, why have I written the supporting paragraph? Because the paragraphs are supporting the topic, and it's very important to look at it from that perspective. Whatever perspective you've taken, the paragraphs are going to support the reasoning for that. Now, let's see if there is any question from the group being asked right now. So, I hope everything's clear till now. Now, let's move further ahead. Understand that how the body of an essay is written. Now, the introduction of an essay is fairly simple. Let me ask the class if there's someone who would give me a quick opinion essay introduction. Tell me what's the structure, guys. Let's get a quick feedback from all of you. Come on, one of you give me the structure of the introduction of an IELTS essay. Okay, we've got a response there. Can I say? Is that a response that I see? No, Lily, it's not in regard to the question. It is in regard to the structure of an IELTS essay, in the introduction structure. So we've got the general statement. Very good, Vishnu. Very good, Ratna. We've got the general statement, and I've already done this last week's. So I just thought I'll do a quick review with all of you. In fact, last month, I would say, I think it was the 29th or the 30th of May. General statement, paraphrase, thesis statement if you are giving an opinion, otherwise you can skip this, and the outlining of the question. All right, now let's look at how a body paragraph is structured. Now, the body paragraph has a topic sentence, an explanation, examples, and a conclusion. Regardless of which body 1 or body 2 you're talking about, this is what it follows. Now, your topic sentence is nothing but your main idea. Now, here is a catch. So you've got a main idea, you've got the explanation, you are going to, substantiate it with example, and sometimes you're even going to conclude the paragraph depending on what kind of question it is. Now, before the main idea, if it is an advantage disadvantage question that you're talking about, what will all of you write? Come on, guys, let's participate in this together and tell me. What are you going to write before the topic sentence? Because that is generally the whole, explanation of the body introduction, body explanation. But what are you going to write? My students should be aware of that. Okay, I don't see a lot of you giving me a feedback on that. Let me tell you that you will have to talk about, you will have to, no Shivani, not a general line, you will have to use a linker which would state that this particular paragraph, begin with the linker stating that in this, on one hand, if you're talking about the advantages, disadvantages, or both the views, you could talk about, and there are many advantages given to the given perspective. Firstly being, so you're going to start with a linker and a connect, or we would, let's call it a connecting sentence, so that you have a clear idea. You can, clearly, give me a second, guys. Yes, you can clearly explain to the examiner that this is what you are going to explain in this particular paragraph. So this particular paragraph is talking about the advantage. So then it becomes very easy for the examiner to understand that, okay, so and so student has written the advantage in this para and not the disadvantage. So very categorically, you have to mention it right at the beginning, even before you give the main point, that this particular para is talking about the advantage. All right. I hope that's absolutely clear to all of you. Now let's move ahead. What do the examiners want? Task 5, task achievement 5, 6, 7, 8. In fact, in the essay, we call it the task response. So the examiner is looking at you addressing all parts of the task. That means you answering all the parts of the question properly. That's for band score 7. If you're aiming for band score 8, you should be addressing all parts of the task and presenting it in a very well developed manner. So what you are being taught right now is writing a task in a well developed manner. Now, we will have a look at a good example and a bad example, and you are going to tell me which one is a good one and which one is a bad one. So this is the question that we have right now before you. You've got, some parents think that childcare centers provide the best services for children of preschool age. Other working parents think that family members such as grandparents will be better uh, uh, carers, this is not careers, carers for their kids. Discuss both the views and give your opinion. Okay, so that's your question. So you're going to have a look at sample 1. Guys, I would request all of you to look at sample 1 and read it properly. Many parents in full-time employment prefer to leave their children with grandparents when they are at work because they feel their child will be safer with someone from within the family circle. In other words, they do not trust a stranger to look after their child and feel confident that no harm will come to the child whilst being looked after by grandma or grandpa. For example, a 2013 study from Cambridge University showed that 62% of working mothers prefer a member of the immediate family to provide care when they are at work. So, in your head, I want you to think of very clearly the topic sentence, the explanation, and the example. All right, very clearly in your head, that's what I want you to think of. Remember one thing, the connecting sentence and the conclusion may be missing in certain essays, and because these are normal band score 7 essays, but if you're aiming for band score 8 and higher, that's the approach that you should be going for. Now, grandparents are the best people to look after children for very obvious reasons. Grandparents really love their children and grandchildren and would never harm them. Also, the children really love their grandparents and feel comfortable with them. Finally, grandparents have lots of experience taking care of children because they're old and have looked after children for many years themselves. You can clearly see that again we would be looking at the same thing, topic sentence, explanation, and an example. Now, my question to you is, the earlier one was sample 1 and this one is sample 2. Which between the two is the right one? Is sample 1 right or is sample 2 right? Come on, tell me. Very good, guys. It's very obvious that sample one is right because it's a wholesome, answer. You've got the topic sentence. Yes, you've got the topic sentence. You've got the main idea. You've got the supporting idea. In other words, and also I would also like to show a linker to all of you. Where is my pen? Yes. So you can see, in other words, there's a linker which has been used to separate the main idea from the supporting idea. That means from the topic sentence, separating the explanation. So it's right there. And then you've got an example, for example. So you've got the main idea, you've got the supporting idea, which is divided into two halves: example and explanation and example. So that completely covers all the aspects. And the icing on the cake would have been a connector right at the beginning and a concluding sentence right at the end. But even then, nevertheless, this still is a very good sample. Now, of course, sample one has one main argument. They have stated this very clearly in the first sentence and then explained why this is in the second sentence. They have also used a very specific example to support their idea. This is exactly what the examiner wants. Now, yes, excellent. Yes, Orithro, you and your emojis. Now, what we need to understand out here is what kind of an answer was that? That was a whole well-rounded answer, and that is what is going to help you score. Now, how to write a topic sentence? This is a question a lot of students ask me. The very first sentence in a supporting paragraph should be the topic sentence. Each paragraph, of course, it would be a good idea. I repeat once again, if it's an advantage disadvantage essay, it would be a good idea to mention right at the beginning that this particular para is talking about advantages and the other para is talking about disadvantages. One of the many advantages, this is how you could start, one of the many benefits, one of the many positives, one of the many, pros. So you can use all these different starting sentences and then begin the rest of the answer. Since this is a both the views essay, so it is, you can start with on one hand. So one of these sentences can be used if both the views are just the opposite of each other. If they are not connected, then you would just say the primary perspective, the first point. So you can use connectors like these to begin your answer and then write the topic sentence. Each paragraph should have one main idea only, and the topic sentence tells the reader what this idea is. This makes your paragraph and the whole essay clearer and easier to read. You'll gain marks for coherence in the IELTS writing test if you do this. Think of them as signposts that direct the reader to where you want to go. We think of topic sentences in an argument essay by thinking of ideas why we should support one side or the other side. Most high-level positions in companies are filled by men, even though the workforce in many developed countries is more than 50% female. Companies should be required to allocate a certain percentage of these positions to women. Do you agree? Now, again a question to my students. What's the breakup that you should be writing generally on a question on agree, disagree? If you imagine if you're completely agreeing, even then. This is a very interesting question, guys. Come on, everyone, tell me. I'm very quietly and patiently waiting for all of you to respond. Let's see, guys. This is like a test for all of you. Even if I completely agree with the given statement and I want to score a higher band score, so what would be my percentage breakup? Would I be writing 50-50, 100, or 70-30? Very good, Vishnu. So tell me the percentage breakup. Excellent. And that's the answer that I was looking for. Even if you completely agree with the given statement, if you give a small portion of the other perspective by using however or nevertheless, the different types of linkers, and give the other perspective, you would get a higher band score, because not only would you be showing another perspective, that means a high level of cohesion and coherence, but also you would be showing grammatical range, because the examiner will get to see a negative language perspective, language point in the second part of the question. All right, second part, or we could say another last part. Yeah. Excuse me. In questions like that, you could begin with writing body 1 with one MI and SI, body 2 with another MI and SI, and a really small body with the however perspective. So very naturally, very organically, you will land up having 5 paras, and that's absolutely all right. So now this, you can clearly see that there are some points in favor of the given topic and there's some against the given topic. Now, topic sentence 1 and topic sentence 2, let's have a look at both in terms of which one is a much better topic. In fact, I would say whenever we are talking about how to write the topic sentence, it invariably comes down to one point, and that is the topic sentence, is the main idea directly linked to the question? If the main idea is not directly linked to the question, then it doesn't make any sense for you to write that answer. It doesn't make any sense for you to include that point. So let's have a look at it. I support the 4 categories, so I'm going to pick 2 of those reasons and write topic sentences for them. So that's me. You should always pick the ideas you know about, most about, or in other words, can explain and support the examples. Now, another thing to remember is that the strongest point always goes first. Women should be allocated a certain percentage of roles, because to not do so discriminates against them because of their gender. That's the first MI. The second MI, that means the second paragraph, topic sentence, females should be given a bigger share of jobs because women currently outperform males in most university subjects. So you can see these two are very strong points, and then they're going to be further explained. Now, explaining ideas is a problem for most students, not because they can't do it, but because they don't see the point in doing it. They think that the examiner must be an educated person, and explaining simple ideas to them is wasting their time. You should never ever assume this. Instead, assume that the reader has absolutely no knowledge of the subject at all, and you need to explain what you mean in order for them to understand. So these are wonderful signposting language, or these are wonderful linkers that have been used out here that you can use for further explanation. That is to say, in other words, this is because, the reason is, as a result, as a consequence, therefore. Now, please understand, students, if you do not use a signpost to divide the topic sentence from the explanation and from the example, then you will lose certain amount of marks, a certain number of marks, because you have made it look like one singular unit. It has to be divided beautifully. Please also understand that the IELTS examination is nothing but an examination which is looking for specific structures, and you will have to adhere to these structures. Now, use one of these phrases to explain what your topic sentence means, the reason why, or the result of your topic sentence. You do not need to use all of them. Make sure that anyone with no knowledge of the subject can understand what your main point is. Women should be another thing before I begin with the example. The example and the explanation can overlap. This is one thing I repeatedly say all the time. You can use an example to explain, or you can give an explanation and then give an example. That particular thing can overlap or go, like, one above the other. There's no fixed rule for the example and the explanation. They can go one after the other. Please remember. Now, this is an example which was for the first question. Women should be, not for the first question, the first topic sentence. Women should be allocated a certain percentage of roles because to not do so discriminates against them because of their gender. As a result, women will be denied jobs not because of their intellect or skill, but simply because of their sex, or you could say gender. All right. Now, this particular one has, you can see very categorically, that is right out there. Let's move ahead. It's not your example. In fact, that's wrongly written. It's your explanation. So you've got explanation 1, explanation 2. You can have a look at both. So now let's have a look at the example. For example, lots of women fail to get jobs solely on the basis of their gender. So you can see that the explanation, that the topic sentence, the explanation, and the example are all interconnected. Now, the other thing that you need to understand when it comes to explanation is, students, I repeat once again, that you can give certain percentages if you would like to mention them. But I would tell you that if you are not aware of it, and you feel it is just an assumption that you have, please refrain from using them. Don't take for granted that your examiner will not be able to find out, will not know. Never think that, because if you're going to give absolutely wrong information, the examiner is going to catch you immediately. All right. The last part of a good supporting paragraph is a relevant example. Examples give your points more authority and make your argument stronger. The two main problems here are not being able to think of the examples and examples not being specific enough. If you can't think one, if you can't think of a good example, make one. Imagine, put in an imaginary example which should be correlated to the topic, but do not leave that area blank. All right. And do not give absolutely false information also. So now these are the two things which are very, very important. And right here you've got, two supporting paragraphs as a sample for you. And you can have a look at it later. So I'm waiting at this slide for some more seconds. And yes, now, before I end, I have a question to ask to all of you. I hope you are absolutely clear with the structure of this question, with the structure of the MI and the SI, guys. Good evening, Simran. Yes, Aritra. Okay, thank you guys. And it was really nice having you as a part of the class. I hope you've understood how the main idea and the supporting idea is very, very important in the IELTS examination. And being able to understand the usage of the main idea and the supporting idea is going to give you the ability to get a higher band score. It's as simple as that. If you're not able to write it properly, you are going to lose marks in the IELTS examination. And with that, we come to the end of the class. I hope you enjoyed the class today. And if you have the time and if you've got the inclination, then please note that currently we are going to begin with the mock test from tomorrow, that is 10th of June at 8:30 p.m. If you want to get your level checked and if you would like to know where exactly you stand, come to my class from tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. and use my referral code BETrainers if you want a subscription. Thank you so much, and that's it for the day today, and good night. Bye guys. And yeah, okay, there was someone, Bunny. Hello ma'am, how are you? I'm absolutely fine, Bunny, and thank you for asking. So that's it. Bye, guys. And see you again. I think we've got a class on the 11th. Yes, we have another class on the 11th, which is going to be a reading test. So I am going to see you again on YouTube on the 11th of June. Thank you, guys. Good night.